Peace and blessings, back with another one. So good to connect with everybody. You know how to do it. Like, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button and everything else. I wanted to touch base with everybody today. Had a really cool conversation this morning with my pops. My dad and my mom have been in foster care for the last 20 plus years. So I got a lot of brothers and sisters. Super proud of my brothers and sisters, man. I know, you know, if you come through the foster care system, that is not the easiest living, right? So a lot of times when my parents get someone, get a young man, particularly in their teenage years, that's what they're pretty much focused on at this point. They come to the house with a lot of hurt, right? I mean, and it's to be expected, right? I mean, whether it's from their biological family or it's something that comes from, you know, hurt that was, you know, transpired throughout the course of just being in the foster care system overall, which is a whole nother conversation, right? But we were talking about the hurt and the woundedness that people experience. And, you know, you see kids that come in and they're in the survival state because things have happened throughout the course of their life. And in many respects, it manifests into long-term suffering because they're not necessarily getting the support or necessarily the things that they need to help them heal. And me and my dad got on that conversation and we were talking about, you know, it's tough to see kids, you know, go through this. But yet when it's one thing to see the son go through it, but I feel like if there's a wounded son, there's also probably a wounded father. And that really hit home because particularly as men, particularly as black men, one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of us are walking around with a sense of woundedness that doesn't belong to us, right? These are traumas, these are experiences, things that happen throughout the course of our life that we subconsciously carry with us throughout the course of our life without necessarily doing the work, the healing, the examination of those things. So we no longer have to go through that suffering. You know, Buddha has a statement, he says, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. That we all have the ability to become the observer of the trauma, of the experiences that have impacted our lives and created this sense of suffering, created this sense of disconnection between us, our true essence, our true nature, and God, right? Who we truly are. And I'm speaking from experience, right? A person who has gone through all types of abuse. I mean, physical, sexual, emotional. I'm not talking that, you know, theoretically pie in the sky classroom. Nah, this is me speaking to working through my suffering, having been in the seat where, you know, I'm carrying around all this pain, all this suffering without examining it, right? And I'm making decisions not based off of, you know, a positive perspective and understanding of who I truly am, but based off of something that happened years ago. And I use that suffering to, you know, to determine how I'm viewing my life. And that's not fair. That's not it. That's not who I am. That's not what life is about. And so I had to consciously make the decision to heal. So for me, you know, healing manifested in several ways. The first way for me was through meditation, right? Being able to sit down and be still, right? Because a lot of times with trauma, the trauma that I went through was more or less, if I sat down, it would surface, right? Which is part of meditation to begin with, right? You're going to be still and your thoughts are going to go through. You observe the thoughts because, as we know in science, the observer effect, once you observe something at a subatomic level, the thing you're observing changes, right? So being still, observing things, observing the trauma, observing the thoughts that pass through, knowing that you are not those thoughts, that helps with the healing. So I had to go through that and develop a practice. And it's literally, it was a moment to moment, day to day commitment that I made that initiated the healing process. I also got involved with a community, people who could help support the healing that I needed, right? They had resources. So if I needed to speak to someone who could help support, you know, that journey, you know, have open, candid conversations, people who are high-minded, who aren't going to judge you, but are going to see you for who you truly are, not necessarily experiences you have gone through, but the light and the love and the joy and the peace and all those qualities that you truly are at the core of your being. So meditation, community, and then also I took a part of plant-based medicine, right? Knowing that there were subconscious things that I was dealing with, right? Things that I may have suppressed, things that because I didn't want to deal with at the time, or traumas that I may have, repressed because just mentally I couldn't handle it, right? So plant-based medicine helped me address, do that, as they say, kind of like that inner work, right? That subconscious work, getting into, traumas that were deep and dark, that I wouldn't go there in a sober state, right? So I literally went down to Costa Rica, Rhythmia Life Advancement Center, and for 4 consecutive days, participated in ayahuasca ceremonies. And I gotta say, it was life-changing. The people that I met were absolutely fantastic. The support, the environment that we were in, we all were in the Maloka every night for 4 consecutive nights. The insights and the healing that I received on a day-to-day basis, and it allowed me to go into those rooms, right, where trauma happened, right, to those situations where I may have hurt somebody or somebody may have hurt me. Either way, I was forced to finally confront, right, with comfort, right? Because at the end of the day, it was the setting was very important, but also the people around me were able to help facilitate it. So I felt comfortable in going in there, right, and doing that inner work. So I was in the right environment where I could do the work. And what I found out was that honestly, the shame and the suffering that I was carrying was worse than the actual experience in and of itself, because I came to the realization that those things happened. Yeah, they happened to my body, but they didn't happen to me, right? I came to that realization in ceremony that I am, and we are, timeless beings. And I keep reiterating it because at the end of the day, I think a lot of us identify ourselves based upon our body, which is, that's a basis level of understanding. But as we do the work, we begin to understand that our body is in our field of awareness, because we are pure awareness. And so I had an epiphany one day where I was meditating. Took my daughter on a trip, sitting in the bed next to her. Before I fell asleep, I was meditating, and I got into a phase where I heard my soul say to me, "You are not a father. You are not a son. You are not a husband. You're not a scholar. You are not a salesperson. In fact, your parents didn't even name you. They only named your body. The closest name for you is I am." And for me, that was a game changer. And I heard that as clear as day. It was as if there was a third person in the room with me and my daughter when I received that message. And so that, for me, allowed me to understand the existential component of who we truly are as cosmic quantum beings, not our bodies, right? Not our bodies. Of course, we love our bodies. Our bodies are the best machines, the best technology, if you will, on this planet. Our bodies are incredible. And so we nurture them with good nutrition, with supplementation, with exercise. We do all the things to ensure that our bodies are healthy, whole, and complete. At the same time, from a spiritual perspective, we are already healthy, whole, and complete, as we are pure awareness, and we're having these experiences. But once again, we are not these experiences. These things do happen to us, right? They happen to the body temple, but they do not taint, they do not tarnish, they do not touch the true essence of who we are as quantum beings, right? So anytime that you have a trauma, anytime that you have an experience, understand the shame, the guilt, the hurt, the lack of forgiveness, all of those things that you are experiencing, they're not who you are. Those things are passing through your awareness, and they may have congealed into thought forms that continue to create other experiences. But understand, at the core of it all, who you are is timeless and untouched by these experiences. It is up to you to do the work, to let go of the things that are associated with the suffering, right? Sometimes that requires changing the story behind it, right? For me, whether it was, like I said, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, any of those things, whatever it was, I had to, in my mind, one, go back and do the healing, but also change the narrative behind it, change the story behind it. And in many respects, I said to myself, you know what? At that time, it hurt. It was traumatic going through those experiences, but I'm grateful for it now because you know what? That's my message. That's my message to people. That's how I can connect with folks. You know, we got 7 billion people in this world. I know I ain't the only one that went through those things, right? Based off of the condition of the world, I'm sure there's plenty of folks, but it's the suffering in silence is what kills it, right? What makes it so heavy. But yet every single day we wake up and we carry our suffering with us. We ain't got to do that no more. That don't belong to us. That's not who we are. That's not who we are. I love when Reverend Beckwith says that your problems are afraid of your potential. But we often block the potential by carrying this load of suffering that ain't meant for us. Once again, we go through these experiences. These traumatic things happen in life, right? That's part of being here on this dimension at times, right? Where you go through pain. But as we continue to mature, grow, unfold, we begin to understand our true nature, understand that suffering doesn't belong to us. We transmute it by observing it, by doing the inner work, by healing. And then as light workers, we're able to reach those who are carrying around that same woundedness and suffering and allow them the opportunity to once again to observe and transmute that into something beautiful. So I definitely wanted to share that out. It was on my heart today. It's fantastic. Once again, I feel like there's a lot of folks that are walking around and need to hear this, man. That really need to hear this. As men, we're taught to hold on to things, right? Particularly if we're athletic, right? You know, how long can you hold this block? How long can you hold the lead? Can you hold this position? 100% spiritual growth, development, unfolding is learning how to let go. A lot of that is tapping into that divine feminine energy. It is what it is, right? Tap into that. That's part of us. At a core level, at a spiritual level, we are neither male nor female anyway. We're pure energy. The essence of who we are has no gender. It's just straight energy. So the letting go properties, they're there with you. It's just something that you have to learn how to do. Learn to sit with it. Learn to observe it. And then engage in the letting go of those experiences, the things, the beliefs, the positions, the things we told ourselves about ourselves that aren't even true. Let them go. And know that everything is working for our good. And once again, if it ain't all good, it ain't all done. So yeah, wanted to share that with you. Peace and blessings. I love you, family. I'm keeping you in my thoughts and prayers. Infinite blessings, and I'll catch you on another one.